The movie Nobody is a 2021 action thriller film directed by Ilya Naishuller and written by Derek Kolstad. The film stars Bob Odenkirk as Hutch Mansell, a seemingly ordinary family man who becomes embroiled in a violent and dangerous world when his past comes back to haunt him. The movie begins with a mundane portrayal of Hutch's life. He's a mild-mannered family man who lives a monotonous life, and he is seemingly content with it. However, as the movie progresses, we see glimpses of a more complex past that Hutch has left behind. The introduction to the movie is a clever juxtaposition of Hutch's dull and uneventful life with his past, which is shown through a series of flashbacks. The flashbacks are intercut with scenes of Hutch's daily routine, creating a stark contrast between his present and his past. The flashbacks give us a sense of the type of person Hutch used to be before he settled down, and how different his life was then. Overall, the introduction sets the tone for the movie by foreshadowing the violence and action that is to come while also hinting at Hutch's past and what might have led him to his current state of apathy. The main characters in the movie Nobody, 2021, are Hutch Mansell, played by Bob Odenkirk; Becca Mansell, played by Connie Nielsen; Harry Mansell, played by Christopher Lloyd; Eddie Williams, played by Michael Ironside; Yulian Kuznetsov, played by Aleksey Serebryakov. These are the main characters, but there are also several supporting characters in the movie.
Hutch Mansell Bob Odenkirk is a seemingly ordinary man. He has 2 children with his wife Becca. Connie Nielsen has an unremarkable job as an office worker in his father-in-law Eddie's Michael Ironside metal fabrication company, and generally keeps to himself. The tedium of his life is slowly grinding on him. He and his wife have not been intimate in years, and his son Blake Gage Munro has no respect for him. Only his young daughter, Sammy, shows him any affection. One night, a man and woman break into his house and hold him at gunpoint, demanding money. Hutch gives them his watch, but when they try to leave, Blake tackles one of them. Hutch is about to attack them with a golf club, but stops himself and lets them get away, resulting in Blake getting a black eye. The incident causes Blake to drift even further away from his father, and everyone in Hutch's life, from his neighbor to his brother-in-law at work, asks him why he did not try to stop the burglars. Hutch contacts his supposedly deceased half-brother Harry RZA on a hidden radio in his office and explains that he held back as the burglars were desperate, scared, and using an unloaded gun. Later that day, Sammy asks her father for help finding her bracelet, which Hutch believes the thieves took. Without saying a word, he goes to see his elderly father David Christopher Lloyd, and borrows his old FBI badge and gun to track down the burglars. He finds their apartment and threatens them, but when he realizes they robbed him to get money to pay for their sick baby's medical treatment, he leaves in shame. The bus he takes home is stopped by a gang of Russian thugs who try to mug the people on board, and Hutch takes out his frustration by savagely beating all of them. When one of them is having trouble breathing after getting hit in the neck, he saves his life by a makeshift tracheotomy using a drinking straw. Harry then sends him to see a man referred to only as the Barber Salmon, who provides Hutch with information about one of his victims. He is the younger brother of Yulian Kuznetsov Aleksey Serebryakov, a notorious Russian mob enforcer. Although Yulian despises his brother, he feels an obligation to avenge him and sends a crew led by his right-hand man Pavel to attack Hutch at home. Hutch hides his family in the basement and kills most of the attackers before Pavel subdues him with a taser and puts him in the trunk of a car to take him to Yulian. Finding a fire extinguisher in the trunk, Hutch uses it to blind his abductors, causing the car to crash, killing Pavel. He returns home, sends Becca and the children away to a safe location, and, after rounding up what's left of Yulian's crew, he discovers Sammy's kitty cat bracelet where it was all along, at the base of his stereo FM radio equipment. He then sets his house on fire to destroy any evidence. It is then explained that Hutch is a former auditor, an assassin employed by intelligence agencies to kill people who were considered untouchable or too difficult to arrest. He did his work diligently until he let a target he was supposed to kill for embezzling U.S. government funds go free. Returning a year later, Hutch found the man had built a new life and family for himself. Wanting a life akin to his, Hutch decided to retire against the wishes of his superiors, and since then has done everything possible to suppress any memory of his old life. After giving Eddie a stash to buy his company from him, Hutch burns Yulian's art collection and the object money he was protecting for the mob, telling him that he can either choose to come after him or he can take what he has left and flee. Julian angrily calls up every man on his payroll and pursues Hutch to the factory, where David and Harry show up to help Hutch eliminate the gangsters using a variety of weapons and deadly traps Hutch has set up. They kill all of the gunmen with the exception of Julian, who shoots and wounds Harry. Hutch charges him with a claymore mine attached to a bulletproof shield and detonates it, killing Julian. He lets his father and brother escape, and is arrested by the police, only to be quickly released with no charges filed. 3 months later, while buying a new house with Becca, Hutch receives a phone call suggesting that his services are still required. In a mid-credit scene, Harry and David are shown driving to an undisclosed location in an RV filled with guns. Some reviews of the audience about the movie Nobody 2021. Nobody was amazing. Bob Odenkirk was fantastic and the action scenes were really well done. It's definitely worth watching. If you're a fan of action movies, you won't be disappointed with Nobody. It's a fun, adrenaline-filled ride from start to finish. Nobody is a great action movie with a unique twist. Bob Odenkirk is surprisingly believable as an action hero and the movie keeps you on the edge of your seat throughout. I was pleasantly surprised by Nobody. The action scenes were intense and well choreographed, and the storyline was interesting. Definitely worth the watch. Nobody is an action-packed movie that doesn't disappoint. Bob Odenkirk's performance is outstanding and the movie is a lot of fun to watch. Highly recommended. Overall, the audience reviews for Nobody are mostly positive, with many praising the movie's action scenes, storyline, and Bob Odenkirk's performance. It seems like a movie that fans of the action genre will enjoy. What about your opinion? Remember,
Nobody is a 2021 action thriller film directed by Aleksey and written by Derek Kolstad. The movie follows Hutch Mansell, played by Bob Odenkirk, a seemingly ordinary family man who has a dark past as a skilled and deadly government assassin. The movie starts with Hutch going through a mundane routine of his daily life, but things take a turn when he is targeted by a group of thieves who break into his house. The incident triggers something inside him, and he decides to take matters into his own hands, unleashing his violent past to track down those responsible and protect his family. The film is well-paced and keeps the audience engaged throughout with its thrilling action sequences and a bit of dark humor. Bob Odenkirk delivers a solid performance as the lead character, showcasing his versatility as an actor. The supporting cast, including Connie, Nielsen and Christopher Lloyd, also does an excellent job. Overall, Nobody is an entertaining and engaging movie that delivers on its promise of high-octane action and thrills. If you're a fan of action movies and looking for a fun ride, Nobody is definitely worth checking out. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel to follow the next episodes. Goodbye and see you again.